Okay.
Hi, I'm Kim Norland, and we have Shelly Day, my co-host, and today we have special guest Jeffrey Kundert of Madison, Wisconsin. Hello, Jeff. Welcome.
Well, hi. Welcome to all. It's good to see you today.
Yeah, Jeff actually has a very big background in fitness. He actually is a wounded Vietnam veteran, 100% disabled. He has been involved in fitness all of his life, starting as a small child, and teaching fitness as he got into high school, and later on has become an occupational therapy as well. So welcome.
Well, thanks a lot. It's a joy to be here. I know you both, and I've been with you, Kim, for many, many years in the same facility, and we've made some real progress there. Actually changed the face of that facility into a much more of a training venue, and it's helped a lot of people. It's been a great value being there, you bet.
Yeah. And Jeff and I have a background, like you said, as far as knowing each other for quite a few years. He actually shares very similar fitness qualities that I have in the fitness industry as far as how we teach people. And I've learned a lot through Jeff as well, especially through nutrition. I picked up a lot of his knowledge and have been able to share that myself with people. So very knowledgeable, and also very great to have somebody in our gym at your age, because you have actually been at this for so many years with a lot of experience. And you're currently 65 right now, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
65 years young, no problemo.
Yeah.
What I like, that's one of the major thrusts of my educational effort with people, is to let them know that there is no barrier to fitness. Disability is not a barrier. Age is not a barrier. No matter what challenges you have, that's not a barrier. You can start to behave and think and act like an athlete while you're 100 pounds overweight. How do you do that? You pick up the thoughts, speech, and actions of an athlete. It's called, this comes from great psychology, the psychology of neuro-linguistic programming, and it's called mirroring and matching. What you do is, if you start to think like an athlete, which is you say, I'm going to my workout today, I'm going to do the appropriate things, and I have knowledge of what I'm going to do, and I have a plan. And then I'm going to eat these foods appropriately. I'm going to take this supplement appropriately. I'm going to do this cardio correctly. You are becoming an athlete. And in only 3 weeks of doing this is multiple studies on this, and I'll let you know, I'm a registered occupational therapist, which is a high-level rehab therapist. I've worked in psychosocial as well as physical rehab. And so when I say things, it comes from a great amount of research. It is not my opinion. What I'm getting back to is it takes 3 weeks to change a habit pattern. There are so many studies on this that it's unbelievable. There's hundreds of studies that show this. In 21 days of doing exactly the same thing, your brain will start to create a physical fissure or a crack or a pathway in your brain that can be observed physically. It starts to open this fissure in your brain, which is the pathway for those neurons and that nerve energy to go, which literally will have you changing the way you think. And that's called cognitive restructuring. So when you do this behaviorism for 3 weeks, you actually change as a person. What I tell clients in my session number 1 is that if you go to your favorite bar every day and drink your favorite drink at 5:30 p.m. and you do it for 21 straight days, on the 22nd day, you'll be sitting there with a drink in your hand, not even knowing how you got there. Well, that's how you should think about your athleticism or your working out or your nutrition or everything else. People are creatures of habit. That comes from caveman days, where we were all habituated to do certain things in order to preserve life. We had certain habits. So they found out what did work and what didn't work in your habituated life. So right now, we are very stuck in the habits we have. And we feel that it will take us off of our comfort zone or out of our platform of existence, our frame of reference, if we change our habits. So hence, we have a natural resistance to changing habits. The only thing people have to do to cross this abyss of where they were to where they need to be in terms of health and wellness is to start to think differently right away. Think, instead of saying, I'll never get rid of this weight. I've been fat. I've always been fat. My friends are fat, and that's the way it is. Well, hell of an affirmation. Then you get what you put in. If that's all you're going to put into life, that's exactly what you're going to get back out. On the other hand, if you start to think differently, you say, well, Kim's now my trainer. I have total trust in her. In 21 days, I'm going to start to transform. I'm going to change my habits. I'm going to do what she says to do. And lo and behold, in 21 days, they say, well, this isn't that hard. Don't you get that, you too, when you're working with people, that after a few weeks, they go, this isn't that hard. This isn't that hard. I don't know why I didn't do this before. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's a great point, because a lot of times a person is so set in their ways, just like you said, and they've already had this habit created, which may be just sitting home after work eating some chips or a drink, and instead of going to the gym or whatever, something else that could be a healthy habit that they're creating. But after a couple weeks or so, if you're really committed to your trainer and the gym or yourself, you're going to start to feel much different about yourself and your habits, and it just becomes something that you look forward to doing. You might not be necessarily in love with what you're doing yet, but you actually are kind of craving it, and it does make you feel good.
So I will segue from that to what gets a person to actually transform. Mm-hmm. Whether you're with a trainer or by yourself or you're working off something you saw in a magazine, there's a number of things that will allow you to transform. I went to the first one. The first one is that you have to actually change your habits. This is behavioral psychology. You have to change what you're doing each day. So what I tell people is, well, you have only 2 prerequisites to enter my program. There are many people that I defer and they don't get in my program because they can't meet these 2 things. Number 1 is, are you willing to show up at the facility? Are you willing to show up for your workouts and do these things a certain amount of times each week? As we know, and Shelley, that there is a minimum, I call this, there are optimums for resistance training. To me, resistance training is the core of everything. You can do all the cardio you want, and mostly you're going to be working out from the calves down. I mean, most cardio work does not work the body out. People don't know the difference between cardio and resistance. People ask me that. What is cardio? Cardio is more of a long-term effort, whether you're changing speeds or going to the same speed. It's anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour long, and it's a sustained effort at something. Whereas resistance training is more of an integrated burst of effort that it may be repeated after a minute or 2 rest, and so you're giving sort of a challenge to a body part or a number of body parts, resting a little and challenging again, which would accrue to 3 sets of 10 reps on some form of chest press or something like that. That's resistance training. Well, people get this knowledge of how they're working with things. They start to change their behaviors a little bit, and they have to work their habits out. I say, will you 3 times a week do resistance training? By the way, 3 times a week is the minimum optimum for success in resistance training. 2 times a week is not really going to get you there, and 1 time a week will get you injured. It's not worth trying. So 3 times a week is the minimum optimum. So they have to be able to do that and commit to that. So they're willing to commit to that. That's one. The other thing that they need to commit to with me is, here's how I ask this to clients. Are you willing to take foods that you love the taste of and set them aside for other foods that you love the taste of that are better for you? Now, that's not a big jump, because people think that when they're about to join in with some program to make transformation, that they're going to have to eat cardboard all day long and stuff they hate the taste of. That is not the case. The only people that would not get in my program are people that won't eat 1 vegetable or fruit in the world. Well, if you are that ossified or petrified in your ways, I honestly can't work with you. You have to be able to be open enough to look at every vegetable in the world and find a couple you can eat. You know what I mean? Or a couple of fruits. So but look how I present this to people. People will choose foods among categories they're going to eat: the proteins, the woody, starchy, dry carbohydrates, and the crunchy, water-filled vegetables and fruits. That's the 3 things we eat, along with some fats, right? They get to choose in those programs many, many, many foods that taste good to them, and hence all we have to do is now turn the dials for 3 weeks to get them a habit to eating foods that taste good to them, that are really good for them. That's not that difficult if people are willing, and that's the first case. Do you find the same?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I really like how you present your program. Jeff does his training a little differently than maybe your traditional trainer, where I've heard you use the word before, babysit their clients, as far as like walking one-on-one with the client each time you work out. You actually are educating people how to use the gym and how to eat for life on their own. So, they can take this knowledge that you're teaching them and expand and go off on their own if they want to, and use the gym as their own facility and eat for life, which I think is a huge thing that people don't understand, is that they don't know how to eat for life, and they go on all these diets that don't work, or that they taste like cardboard, as you said, and they lose interest after they're not seeing the results. And what your program offers is, like you said, these 3 little circles three little options of different foods that you can choose from. It doesn't have to be just one particular broccoli or vegetable. It doesn't have to be one particular protein. And it doesn't have to be that you can't have carbs, because you do have all those three things offered: carbs and protein and fibers in food that do help a person become satisfied and happy if they get into the habit of eating that way, which is the whole point that you're trying to make, is that it does take 21 days to become a habit. So if you take that knowledge that you're offering and you are willing to make those adjustments and giving up some of your foods that you really do enjoy, you can actually learn how to eat other things that you might find that you enjoy just as much, and especially once those results start to happen. Because let's face it, results taste better than some of these other foods that are prepackaged.
Certainly, and now you've segued me toward these stages of transformation. The first stage is that you have a mission statement you created for yourself. And on my Shortcuts to Weight Loss handout that you see on the wall sometimes, I've had people lose 50 pounds doing that, and there's no resistance training in that. But the first thing it says, because you need help to learn resistance training, but the first thing it says on that is make a mission statement. And the mission statement is surrounded by this edict: why I will do this. You notice it didn't say, why will I do this? That is too weak. You have to make an affirmation. The first thing that the person has to do is affirm that they're going to do it. They're going to do something. And then after that, they can follow through. You must have that affirmation first. Why I will do this. Then after that, they move into these, they could become more educated. You must be confident when you walk in the facility that you're doing the right thing. You must be confident that you're eating the right thing. If you have a supplement to eat, it must be the right supplement. So each thing, in what I call my 5 points, and I can give you my 5 points on my fingers here, but I lay them out this way. If you see that this middle finger is slightly taller than this one, that we'll get back to, but that is resistance training being slightly more important than cardio. I'll tell you why later. Secondly, over here, on this one, we have nutrition being well more important than supplementation. And over here on this, we have that whole thing swinging in the balance of your life issues. Can you control yourself to do these things properly? Will you get there on time? Will you drink too much the night before? Will you say that your family was visiting, so I didn't work out for a week? Or will you find a way to do this? These life issues are crucial to get this all done. So the stages of transformation: number one, willingness to do this. You are willing to do it. And secondly, that you establish habit patterns over a 3-week period. Third, you achieve a shred of transformation. I have people that say, well, I weigh the same, but my watch fits differently and my belt fits differently. I'm going, well, then you're transforming. Let's jump on that. Remember that your ego is sitting on your shoulder and it's like a little baby. It's going, I don't want to do this. This is hard. What are you doing? You have to say, take it easy. We're going to do this and we're going to get some transformation out of this. And then finally, when you get some transformation, even your little ego goes, hey, this seems to be working out a little bit. And you're going, darn right, it's working out. Well, let's keep going. And that's what you have to do. On whatever level your goals are at, whether you have to lose 100 pounds or get past a disability, or you want to step up on stage in front of 5,000 people and win a bodybuilding show, you still have these same goals in front of you, the same sort of subset of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual challenges to get this done. And that segues to something else. But the next thing you want to do besides have a mission statement and achieve the habit patterns, or to have a shredded transformation. Then after a shredded transformation, usually happens between 3 and 6 weeks. So just stay with it. 3 to 6 weeks, you get a shredded transformation. After you get some real transformation, when you're really actually transforming, you now have real confidence in who you are and what your program is. Once you lose like 5-6 pounds of fat, you're going in the right direction. You know you're going in the right direction. By the way, losing fat means breaking the set point of fat. We roll along like this, and this is us at the same weight. We're at the same weight for maybe months or years at the same weight. We have to run through these 3 weeks, 3 weeks where the body does not want to transform. It's at a point, a set point of fat. It will not transform. After 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks usually, you break that set point through good habits, and your fat starts to go down. You start to lose fat. When that happens, I want you to jump on that and take it all the way to the bottom. That's when you start to lose fat. Usually not in the first day or week. Usually after around 3 weeks, when your body says this. Well, the body says to you, you know, I've been eating really well and eating less heavy carbs or fast carbs, white flour and sugar. And I've been eating not combinations of fat and carbs together. I've been eating appropriately at every meal, and my snacks don't have a bunch of carbs and fat in them. And I feel, and everything's working. This is the body telling you this thing seems to be working now, and I'm working out well, but I'm not working out too hard, just enough to keep my metabolism up. You know what? The body says, you know what? Your metabolism says, I think we can give away some fat now. And it just starts giving away fat. Because remember, as cave people, which we all are, we're only 5,000 generations from being cave people. When you think about it, and you know, at 15, back then we were having children every 15 years or less. So so you see that there's very few generations between us and a caveman. That's at 15 years. That's only 7,500 years ago at 5,000 generations. So really, we have or 500 generations. We're very close to what the cave people are. And the number one way to die when you're a cave person is starvation. So our metabolisms are set up to hold fat no matter what. So if you do too little, you'll stay fat. If you do too much cardio especially, you'll stay fat and give away muscle. Because the body thinks it's going to die and it's going to need the fat for energy. So it'll give away muscle and save fat. That's why you don't want to do too much cardio per week or per session. Your body will get into a mode where it will not lose fat. I'm sure you've talked about this before. But you have to get the right balance going. And after a few weeks, your body starts to lose fat, and then you jump on that. Now, stages of transformation. The last stage is this. You know you transform. Your clothes fit differently. I don't want you talking about it too much. Don't talk the energy out of it. Just keep walking along. After about 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, somebody in the facility is going to walk up to you or at your work and say, you look great. You've been losing weight. And that is called the unsolicited compliment. When you get an unsolicited compliment, you're on fire. You are on fire to do this stuff because now you know from other people that you did not communicate to. It's not fair to go up to somebody and say, how do I look? Do I look better? Am I looking better? That isn't the one. It's the unsolicited compliment that's going to get you all the way over to the other side. Now, does that flow make sense?
Yes, it does. And it's very on point. You know, you get a compliment from anybody. And you gave me a compliment last week, and guess what? It just made my whole entire day, because some days, like even ourselves as fitness professionals, we can be working really hard and trying to change our nutrition and trying to change our physique, maybe making it to another level. Well, we don't always see the changes in ourselves. And of course, we're not fishing for a compliment, but when somebody gives you a compliment, it does reassure that everything you've been working so hard for is working. And yes, it makes you come home.
I'll jump in now on confidence in your trainer. You should never embellish your clients going, oh, you look great today. It's not going to help them because they've had the false compliments before. What you do want to do as a trainer, I'm a wellness educator, what you want to do to get trust in people is only give compliments when they are the truth, and then they are the truth. In other words, you can't go and shine your clients all the time. They can see right through that. So I'll give a client a compliment once in a while and say, you did a great job on that. And they look at me like, you're patronizing me. And before they even say that, I say, look, I'm an ex-combat Marine from Vietnam. I don't patronize anybody. When I see something correct, I'll tell you it's correct. Otherwise, and you also don't say this to people, well, that was wrong. You did that wrong. That's not right. You never say that to people. You always say, look, do it this way. Get your shoulders back and down. Let's get a little more lift on that. Get your chest up and out. Let's push that forward. No full extensions. You've got it. Nice work. Now you got it. Now you got it. Then they know that you're giving them the truth, and you better have the truth too as a trainer.
Right.
Then when you compliment them, they'll know you're not patronizing. Right. But the unsolicited compliment is always unpatronizing, because somebody out of nowhere comes up and says at your job or out in the street and says, one of your family says, holy moly, you look great. You must have lost a huge amount of weight and you look so toned. I'm so proud of you. Then you're like, I'm on fire. I can do this. I'll do this forever. This is what I love. And here's the Jeffism. Jeffism is stuff I made up over the many, many years, over the many decades. A Jeffism, listen to this one. We like what we're good at, and we're good at what we like. So think of this. Like, I'm naturally good at hand-eye skills. So down in Mexico, they have this little ball that swings on a string and it pops up and lands on a little cup, and you get a free drink if you do that. And they sort of gave the ball to me, and the Mexicans did, and the people around me said, the people that were with me said, you don't want Jeff to do that. And I immediately went, quick, back, right in the cup instantly, and I got a free drink. I said, I can do this 10 times in a row. How many drinks you want me to get? She took it back from me. So I'm good at hand-eye skills. So I like hand-eye skills, right? Right. So I like it. Well, a lot of people are not good at working out. Just like I was not good at chemistry. I told you this before. I was not good at math and science. And when I went to occupational therapy and I started the occupational therapy program, and I was in college from the ages of 43 to 50 years old. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin with a degree at 50 years old. It was very difficult because I had a family and stuff too. But the difficult part was I wasn't all attuned to learning like people right out of high school and right into college. So when I came on to college, chemistry, physics, physiology, and things like that, it was a real challenge. But I had to meet that challenge. And I'll guarantee you, I did not like it at all at first. I didn't like it at all. Chemistry scared the living daylights out of me, and I did not like it. Just like people don't like working out. They don't like eating right. They don't like the stuff. So after a while, when they get good at it, like I got good at it, when they get good at it, they start to like it. See what I mean? We're good at what we like. So you have to learn to like this stuff. And that's why you give people in occupational therapy, which is called the just right challenge. We don't want to do too much. We don't want to give them too much, and you don't want to give them too little. So if you're, and I am a wellness educator. I do educate people, and I put them out on their own to do things all week long, and that is my program. And it covers every aspect of fitness and health and wellness. But also, I do train people as well. So when you're training people up for the hour, you don't give them too much. They'll be scared to come back, and they'll have a negative affirmation like, that was too hard. That was too much, you know. You want to give them that, but you don't want to give them too little either. They say, I paid money for that? Right. That's an occupational therapy called the Just Right Challenge. The Just Right Challenge is the challenge that is hard for somebody, but they can meet the challenge. And then after that, they say, and then I met that challenge. Darn good. I'll be back to meet the next challenge. And that's how you have to groom yourself or anyone else to achieve in life and to raise up, up, and up. So that's sort of, go ahead.
Makes a lot of sense though too, and it's kind of similar to how I do my teaching as well, just because a person also cannot retain everything that you try to, shove down their throat in one session or even a couple sessions. So you got to kind of just give them a little bit, but like you said, just enough to make them interested in what they're doing and appreciate what you've done for them. But then as they keep coming back, you just offer a little bit more. And of course, my big thing is to make sure that form and technique is correct. And once I see the form and technique on what we've already currently learned, then to keep progressing on to further stuff that they can, challenge themselves with as well. So
yeah, and that in therapy is called graded learning. It's like first grade, second grade, third grade. You start with a wide, basic platform of things to do, and they can move around a wide area of things to do. But as it goes up, it does get a little more challenging and a little more. It's a little more focused, polarized at what you need to know and what you need to know, what you need to know. And we don't, once in a while I tell my clients the kind of challenge that us, Shelly and Kim and myself, the kind of challenges we may have. Like I have a challenge right now I've been working on for about 3 or 4 years, and I'll have about 1 to 2 years more to get this challenge right. What's this challenge? Working my upper chest. My clavicular pectoralis is not genetically there much, rather a flat area. So I do specifics for that and a lot of special things. But you don't want to tell people, I have a goal here. One of my goals might be in October, yours too, and I could go for So there's a goal 9 months from now, right? 9-month away goal. And we have to work really hard toward that goal. But for other people who are just beginning, they have a 3-week goal. The first goal for people should be 3 weeks long. In these 3 weeks, we want to learn some really good habits, and we want to get you acclimated in the facility and get you acclimated to new types of nutrition and enjoy yourself. And then we have a 3 week. Then we have a 3-month goal. 3-month goal, we want some transformation. That's what Body for Life is. It's all 12 weeks, 3 months, 3 months. After that, you go to 1 year goals. But a lot of people can't think out there a year. But I tell them this: how long is your membership in the club? And it's almost always 1 to 2 years. Isn't that right, Shelly, in your clubs?
Yeah.
How long your memberships are? They're usually, people sign up for 1 year or 2 years, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they often say, well, I've got 15 months left on my membership. And I say, you know where you can be in 15 months from now? Now, the top people I've ever trained in my life have been in contests, physique type contests. Now, these are transformation contests, and they exist now only a shoestring of what they were before. And that is the EAS Body for Life contest, originated all by Bill Phillips and the original EAS company. But these transformations and the contests are all 12 weeks long. And my best clients, unbelievable. I've had in the biggest competition for Madison, Wisconsin, I did it like 4 or 5 years ago when it was really competitive and it was all over the city, everybody competing against each other, all the health clubs competing. And here in 12 weeks is what my clients did. I only trained them each individually 1 time a week. That's all. And as a group, I trained them 1 time a week. So they saw me once and they met with me as a group once. There were 5 of them. Here was their weight loss, if you want to know consistency. The 3 women and 2 men in the program, 12 weeks long, the 3 women lost 29, 31, and 32 pounds, which shows terrific consistency. Now, they're all from different walks of life. One of those women did not even belong to a health club. She was just brought in for this contest alone. One was a person who had lost weight before and got fit and then gained it back, and that was one. And then the third one was just a gal in the club who had never tried before. So I took different demographics for this, so it shows that their consistency was excellent and that what I offered them was correct. The 2 men lost this, 52 pounds each. That was it. That's 12, that's 52 pounds each. That's uncanny considering that the consistency of it, I was most pleased with, over the top of the fact that they all lost weight. And we pretty much dominated that contest. The only people that got ahead of us were people that fed their clients. They went to the client's house and cooked the food for them and fed it to them. Yeah. Then instead of having 1 trainer, they had like 4 or 5 trainers, and they picked people that weighed 400 pounds. So the rate loss of fat from that is so much quicker, Because I picked people that were in all walks of life and everything and did it that way. But it just shows that a good program followed well can give dramatic results in 12 weeks. Now, that's my best clients. Second best clients are clients that stay with you. They stay 10 straight weeks with you. They don't leave. They stand right by you, and they get their work done. But believe it or not, I only see clients 10 times in 10 weeks because I'm an educator, not a trainer, really. So for my type of client, this type of client, every client needs motivation. So clients come to you, and don't they say this all the time? I need motivation. Yes. You know what? For real athletes, you say, well, just get some. But in reality, there's more than that. People have to find a way to get a hold of something that gives them motivation. So one thing that gives them motivation is pure knowledge that is the truth. When you give them the truth, and you tell them, well, people at a contest, they lost 30 pounds, women lost 30 pounds in 12 weeks. I don't expect that out of you. I expect you to lose nothing in the first 3 weeks and then 1 to 2 pounds a week after that. So in the first 3 weeks you lose nothing, and then in the next 10 weeks you lose only 10 pounds. Yeah, but that's 13 weeks you've lost 10 pounds. Now you're losing a pound a week. Well, what's going to happen by the time your membership is over? You've got you have 50 more weeks of your membership, so you can lose 50 more pounds. Is this a problem? They're going like, oh no, I love this. So people need to get what's called the long-term vision. They need a long-term vision of things. And the idea is that we, as educators, trainers, or athletes, we love this stuff. We love each workout. Why? Because each workout, I don't care if it's resistance training or cardio or cross training or CrossFit or power training or anything, all these things are going to give you the brain chemicals that give you the best high in the world. And we all know that high. It comes from serotonin. Serotonin makes you comfortable, and you feel so comfortable after workout. Dopamine makes you feel like you can conquer the world. Oh man, I feel good. And dopamine that comes from working out well. And the third one is endorphins. Endorphins make you feel euphoric. So I write articles on every single one of these things for magazine stuff. So I said, want to get high? Best brain chemicals in the world is working out. Now, your long distance cyclists and runners and stuff like that, a lot of those people become addictive without even knowing it. They start out running 1 mile, jogging, then they jog 2, then 5. They do a 5K, they do a 10K, they do a half marathon. They start doing marathons. And in the end, they're running like 75, 100 miles a week. Why? Yeah. Because they have now become closet addicts to the brain chemicals. And the idea now is the real idea in a great life is to balance this all out so that you can get these brain chemicals from resistance training. I can bring you anytime after 20 minutes into the workout, I'll say, when do you want the endorphins? Tell me when you want them. We've been 20 minutes in and you're all warmed up completely. I've been working the body parts. So you want the endorphins in 10 minutes? I'll bring them in 10 minutes. What you do then, you give a client endorphins really fast, you give them a bunch of supersets in a row. Yeah. Hit that for chest. Go over and do back. Let's hit some abs. Take a sip of water. Let's do it again. Chest, back, abs. One more time. Good. Chest, back, abs. Come on. Last set. Chest, back, abs. And they stand there and they're humming like that. They're humming. And then a tiny bit of glowing, a little bit of sweat might come on their body right then. And you can almost see them get high right in front of you. And to tell the truth, I'm on a roll now. To tell the truth, when you're with clients and they get endorphins, I get a contact high.
Oh, yeah.
I start getting high from that. When I'm finished with some clients, I'm walking around going, yeah, baby, because I got all these endorphins and stuff that came from them. That's a very valid thing. That transfers over. So that's the value of working out in a facility that's full of people. Now, people say, I don't want to go in with all those people there. Well, you know what? Sometimes with all those people there, everyone's working together. And if you remember at first at Gold's, the first Gold's Heroes, they had music pumping. They had a DJ up in the attic there. They had that overhanged area. They had music playing. The people were moving around. And the good part of that facility was we had professional athletes and professional bodybuilders working right next to 75-year-old grandmas. And everyone was doing fine and having a great time. But people thought that club, Gold's Heroes, Shelley, was voted best new health club in the world.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, best new health club on the planet. And people used to come over from Japan and other countries just to view that health club that they might build one like it. That's how good that was.
It was a very beautiful club.
The problem with the club was it had no childcare. You have no childcare, no running track, no swimming pool. You're an adult-only, couples-only, singles-only club, and you better advertise real hard and have the exact correct location. Rob West had a beautiful vision and the wrong location. Wonderful man, wonderful trainer. Right now he has a beautiful facility. He's always a forward thinker, and we can credit him for the great things he did at that club. But just, people want certain things. They need childcare. They need it bad. So anyway, in there, we got them. Everyone was getting that royal together. And at the Princeton, it's the same thing. When people get going, when everybody's getting going at 5:30 in the afternoon, it's a great thing that's happening in that club. Everyone's moving. The whole club's humming, and that's a good thing. Now, some people are much more private, and they want to be alone, and they work out alone. Right up until they lose 40 pounds. Then they'll walk in with the group and baby, I'm here. I'm with you. Because they did lose some weight. They did transform. They do feel better. I love this. I had a guy recently. He's a short guy. He's a paramedic, and he lost 80 pounds, right? Well, he was only 5'6". So he wrote an article for this magazine. He goes, I'm a skydiver. And when I used to try and get in the formations with other people, I'd go right past them. They called me the bowling ball. And now he said that I lost 80 pounds. I can actually float in with the group and get into those formations as a skydiver. And this is the most important thing. He said this, and now I've even walked up and asked gals on a date. In the past, I knew they were out of my league.
Yeah.
I almost went to tears over it.
It's just built up. So.
Yeah, his whole life changed. Yeah. And this gal, I had a gal who was 45 pounds in 14 weeks. Now, I don't need that out of people, but anyway, she lost 45 pounds, right? And she had a figure then and looked just great. And here's the main thing she wrote next to her picture. My confidence is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, that's everyone just have that, And look, if a person is a little bit overweight, like 20 pounds, and they have good genetics, and they go for brisk walks, not too long, like 20, 30 minutes a day at the most, go for brisk walks and eat well, they will outlive an elite athlete who has not so good genetics. So what I'm saying about this is genetics does play into this. But let me say this. What athletes have over other people is self-esteem.
Yeah, and drive.
And and energy and persistence and drive and all these things. So they persevered at something. And here's what I say. When you see a really fit person walking around, the reason you see that magnetism that they have is they have a decent personality. But and a decent caricature, and what comes out of their eyes and heart is good. But what you see coming out of that person is every hour of work that they put in. That's what you see. And when you see somebody really fit walking around, you look at every hour of work put in on that, you know, and that's pretty neat. I mean, I used to be lab partners with Heisman Trophy winner Ron Dane for the University of Wisconsin. He, you know, one of the best running backs in the history of football. He was my lab partner in college, and he'd walk in and sit real calmly. And I'll tell you, his legs were bigger around than my waist, you know, and he'd sit real calmly. He was like 5'11", maybe 6 feet tall, 255 pounds of muscle, you know, and he was built like a running back, all legs, just massive legs. And he sat there real calmly with me, you know. He was a good student. He wasn't a cheat. He did everything right, you know. He sat right by me. We were lab partners, man, in counseling psychology. And he sat calmly, and he had scars all over his forearms, ripping scars. And those are from defenders hitting their face cage against his arms. But I'm saying what was coming out of his body when he sat still like that and calm, he said, "Hi, Jeff." He's really calm. What came out of him was all those years of hard work, hard football and hard off-season training and everything. And I could feel that from him, you know. He was very calmed from all the success he's had in his life and all the goodness, you know. And so he was a sweet guy. That's really neat because the great success of his life had changed him so permanently. So we'll go back to my bowling ball buddy now. So he used to walk down, and the other guys, you know, this one guy is in the gym too. He lost 100 pounds with me and then got ripped. Big Billy. Yeah, and then he got ripped and he lost 100 pounds. He was in our video. Yeah. Big Bill, right? That was him. He lost 100 pounds, and then, you know, the muscle on the guy. He had mountains of muscle on him. Took him 3.5 years or so. But when he first walked in the gym, you know, he had a lot of trouble. He had a lot of psychosocial problems, things like that. Yeah, but after a couple of years, he'd walk in the gym, walk past, and go, "How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?" to everybody, you know? That's the change. That's the transformation that I think we'd like anyone to have. It's a total transformation. So I do this on my hand. I do a lot of stuff on my fingers for people. So you see how this works. Here is physical. I can't get these to hold together today. Physical, and these two are mental, emotional, and this is spiritual. So here we are working with people on their physical life right here, where you find out over here on the mental side that they have to think differently. And right here, I'm going to tell you this from psychology. I have like 60 credits in psychology, child and family development, things like that, a whole half of a college degree on that, that whenever you think a thought, it evokes an emotion. And whenever you have an emotion, it projects a thought. So thought and emotion are wound together. So you're working with somebody physically, and all of a sudden their thinking and their emotional content starts to change. And believe it or not, even the way they face the world and they see themselves in the world right here is a bit of a spiritual intent in the world, right? All these things do indeed start to change when a person simply starts to work out or change their nutrition. Mm-hmm. Isn't that nice, you know? You're actually spurring growth on all levels in a human being when you help them to become a little more fit and healthy and well. So what do you think about that?
I think that's great.
Personally did that. I had my feet run over a couple years ago.
Wow.
Couldn't do anything. The bones in my feet were bruised, and I just, you know, was really down because I couldn't work out. I couldn't do a lot of things with my kids. It was really, really hard. And just one day I said, you know, I am tired of feeling like this, tired of being miserable. I don't care how bad it hurts. I'm going to do as much as I can. And I started working out, and every time I would get like a PR or, you know, whatever, it just built me, and it made me stronger and not depressed and happier, and just changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's the Bill Phillips talks about the abyss. You know, the abyss. So you're over here, and you've got to get past that abyss. And yeah, I see that you have. I'm very, very proud of you, because the same for me is if people out there in TV land here think that we just automatically are fit and healthy, that's not really the case. After Vietnam, I was in a body cast for 6 months. I was in the hospital on my back for 6 whole months. So people say, gee, that's hard. But you have to even consider that once. I'm talking about, I didn't get out of that bed. I was in traction and a body cast. I didn't get out of that bed. I had shattered femur and shattered legs. I ended up now with 2 titanium knees, and you know, a lot of challenges with my back because one of my legs is 1.5 inches shorter than the other. And you know, what can I say? I was struck in the eye with shrapnel too, and I got this big giant surgery on my shoulder, and so I have something like 85 to 90 inches of scars on my body. So nobody sees that. You know that, Kim. Nobody sees me in a facility like that at all. They don't know anything about that at all. They don't say a word about it. All they know is that I'm a very athletic, bright, and jumpy guy. But they forgot that 2 years ago, I could come up the stairs, but I couldn't walk down the stairs because my other knee had gotten so bad, was so deformed and so much trouble. Some gross joint deformity from all the surgeries and stuff. And then I was gone for a while. Why? Because I got my second titanium knee. Now they're both steel, so then I'm back again. So people really don't know where you went or what you did. And I'm not going to sit and whine about it either. But what people need to understand is that we all go through things. There isn't a one of us that doesn't have a challenge. And yes, some people just have an eating challenge. And yes, they cause their own problem, but they still have the problem and they have to walk out of it. Other things like you had an insult, Shelly, that came from somewhere else that you had to work your way through. And so have I, and so has Kim. And so we have these extra things. And also, Kim is a young mother with children, husband, duties, all these things to do, and balances these things so well. That's the good side for me. I'm like a grandpa. I cooked meal for 25 people at Christmas, had a 20-pound turkey, a 10-pound ham, and all this going. But a day later, they're all gone. Because I'm 65 years old and playing my role, And so and I'm so proud of you, Shelly, because I've just met Shelly today for the first time. And I wanted you to speak up because I saw that you were nodding and things when I was talking about making this transformation in your mind. And then you finally piped up and talked about your will. So what are your goals now?
The things that you pointed out are conversations I've had in the last week.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
Shelly actually has just had a surgery recently. So she's overcome some obstacles herself and is just kind of overcoming, like what you're reaching some PRs now with your abs. She had...
I finally made it all the way through an ab workout. Yay!
Yeah, you had your third hernia, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was just telling somebody in the last year I had a lump in my breast that was a big, huge scare. It was real painful for a while, and then I shortly after that got a hernia, which was my second, and then shortly after that I had surgery in May and surgery again in October. So
was those surgeries based on your hernia repairs?
Right.
Okay, and I'm sure they put a good webbing over the hernia surgery.
Well, they put a very small webbing the first time.
Wrong.
And I got another one, so now I have a great big webbing stapled to the inside of my abs.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Because hernia surgeries now you're getting to my rehab position of who I am as a rehab therapist. Hernia surgeries have come a long way. They should be very, very effective at this point. And so I'm wishing you the best on that. Yeah, that's not a good thing.
I had twins. And that separated the muscles a lot. So they kept fixing these little places, but the whole thing is messed up. So finally they fixed the whole thing. So
yeah, well, that's what you were given, twins. And how old are they now?
They're 7.
Oh, how they doing? They're in school, they're doing good, everything's great.
Yeah, they were 39 weeks. So no issues, no nothing. Yeah.
That's great. Well, this is just something that I'll tell you something. I've been a lucky guy. From the time I was a child, my father told me to be a gentleman around women at all times. And that's the way, if any men out there, I have another whole website I could develop on people. I've named the website, it says this, how to succeed with women. Now listen, in other words, how to be a gentleman. So the idea is that what I'm going to say compassionately to you two is that women go through more than men do in many ways. Not just childbirth, but that women have to work with and against hormones their whole lives. Here they are from a child, the mom may not have a perfect nutritional plan and certain things like that, and the child starts eating foods when they're young that may not be the best as a girl. By the time she's 14, she's already been eating plasticizers by drinking water out of plastic containers. That is fake estrogens called plasticizers. And then also, the mom may have been on birth control pills, and now you get young girls that are 14 years old already having ovarian cysts and problems like this. Unbelievable challenges. And I'm going to give you something that we never saw. I went to high school in the 60s, believe it or not, so we never saw this back then. A 9-year-old girl who's really thin, she's a very thin girl, and she has very big boobs, but she's very thin. That's a hormone situation. That's not just genetics. And that thing's tough on women. By the time women get 20 years old or so, They're already getting all kinds of fibroids and ovarian cysts and things like that because it's hormone challenges that they have. And then women, it's not women's fault. And I've got supplements and things for every one of these things I'm talking about, and I will always refer people to doctors, and I will tell people what has worked for others. But there's so many challenges that women get throughout their lives. If a woman has premenstrual syndrome, that doesn't mean that she's just a snotty girl who cries a lot and gets upset about things. That's so unfair. It's a whole effort of the whole society causes things like this because the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat just isn't that great, you know, and it pushes women's hormones all over the place. Now, let's go back to men. I think, are men the perfect? Come on, every man in the world gets up and goes like this in the morning. What's going on? I'm hungry. You know, and men are grumpy in the morning. They're hungry. They got their own dang challenges. They have all kind of challenges. But men should support women in every possible way. If you want to go through some specifics for women, like you told me, lump in your breast, you want to talk about that a little bit? Okay, so doctors have to offer what they have to offer. If you want to get into a wider scope of natural healing, but doctors they have a proclaimed success with cancer. Their success rate is 10%, 5 to 10%. The proclaimed success rate with the natural practitioners against breast problems is 50%. That's never televised, never shown anywhere. Well, who owns the television then? But it's never shown. But it's shocking what people can do for themselves. Now, I'm not prescribing anything here. I'm saying what people have done. The WonderKind website that I allow everyone to go to, that I put on my Keep Yourself Well and Healthy handout, that I have about 10 to 15 different handouts I give to people, is earthclinic.com. The earth is your clinic. earthclinic.com. So you get on there and you find out people weighing in on things they have done. That way, you're not up there saying you're curing others. You're just talking about what works for you. But if you're on, if you're on Earth Clinic and 150 people are saying the same thing worked, you think that it's working? I would think that it would work. So here's how that works. If you have any growth in your body of any kind, a growth, I'll tell you my personal experience. In my left hand, I spun my ring finger all the way back and broke my finger pretty badly about 10 years ago. No problem. As a guy just walked up the stairs, pulled on it, pop, back in again, and went out to what I was doing. Well, that only 6 months later, I grew a big ganglion cyst there. Now, a ganglion cyst is not a sebaceous cyst that you hit with a book, you know, that's on your skin. A ganglion cyst is down wrapped around the bone. It's a hard tissue, and it runs tendrils up and down your tendons. It's a serious thing, usually requiring a surgery. My cousin went through 9 surgeries for 11 ganglion cysts and got one huge staph infection and almost died in all that process, right? For me, personally, I took the enzyme called serrapeptase. Serrapeptase is not a digestive enzyme. It is a body-wide proteolytic enzyme that works in your bloodstream and digests all kinds of things that are unnatural in your body. People have said over and over and over, on Earth Creek and everybody else, you'd be shocked what goes out of your body. 40 days after I started this ganglion cyst was gone. Gone, along with a lot of other stuff. So I leave it to you to read Earth Clinic and talk to people there who have dissolved all kinds of tumors, growths, every kind of thing in the world right off their body. I've seen people have just different growths. And right now, because I was a national champion martial artist in the 70s in the old days, so we broke everything with our hands. I broke more boards than bricks and shattered all my knuckles and all. That's not good because I have a lot of arthritis in my body. That's also from the many surgeries from combat. So I do eat serrapeptase to keep all this down, this arthritis down, everything. It's one of the best anti-inflammatories in the world. And according to people that have stated it and studies that have shown it, serrapeptase is S-E-R-R-A-P-E-P-T-A-S-E. Serrapeptase is an unbelievable enzyme to help you with inflammation or growth in your body or anything like that. So I just popped up with one of the like 99 supplements I can tell people about that help. In the clinic, they call me the street pharmacist, and I ain't selling cocaine. So, you know, so my knowledge of supplements goes way, way out there because Kim will tell you, I read about this stuff almost every day of my life. I'm 65 years old. I've done this for like many decades, and I love to find the next leading edge thing, what it is. If it's fake, I chuck it to the side. If it's real, I put it in the category and help it out. But I just threw out one thing there. But if anyone had questions about supplements.
Well, I was going to say that I would love to have you on another time too, just talking about supplementation,
Right.
to naturally heal people, because there are so many ways I think that a person can help themselves through supplementation. But I think that there's so much information out there that a person doesn't really know what to believe or what to even try. And I think just hearing an expert on this subject would be really helpful, and encourage other people to try something.
Yes, and it's a whole nother show, because
Yeah.
I could sit for an hour easily and talk just about different supplements for different reasons and go on and just bring it right out of my head too, because I've done it a long time. But the idea is, I'm not leaving doctors out. Doctors saved my life multiple times. Their orthopedic medicine is fantastic, but it would be better for everyone to work together, and that's called integrative medicine, so that you could go to the massage therapist, you go to the massage therapist, the chiropractor, the holistic health practitioner, the orthopedic medicine doctor, all that for the same thing. You go to the acupuncturist, you do all these things at once, and you're going to get well then. So it'd be good if people worked integratively like they do in Europe. Here we have a lot of influence of the drug companies. Some of the drugs aren't the best, some are good. But the natural food industry, one of the biggest backlashes against Congress in the history of all of, since we formed our Congress, happened in the late 90s, when Congress tried to move to make all supplements into medicines. And they got letters. The only time the Congress got more letters to stop something was to stop the war in Vietnam. That's the only time. And that's how many people lashed out against our government for trying, and any other corporation, for trying to control natural health supplements. Let them be what they are. They just stay in these nice stores. We can go in and choose them. We don't want vitamin C to be a drug under prescription. That would not be a good idea. So we need some autonomy in the world and things like that. But yeah, today just a generalized effort to tell people about fitness and health and how important it is in life. For me, it has been, and all of us, it has been our rock to keep us happy, healthy, and influence those around us, and to keep us out of disease and illness and decay. And I'm very much in favor. I have many elder clients and many disabled clients, because I'm a therapist, and so even acting as a trainer and helper, still I get these people that want to live a long life, and they see their mortality. I'll tell you two this so you get this fun fact. In less than 15 years, I'll be 80 years old. That's a fact. So when you think about that, it's shocking when you're young, because that's a fact. So the amount of time I've spent as a therapist in my work, that amount since 2000 to now is 15 years. In 15 more years, I'll be almost 81 years old. So that's the truth. So I look at my own mortality, how long I have and what I'm going to do with my life and how I'm going to put my life together. Whereas when you're younger, so I don't think Shelly will tell us how old she is, right? Are you like 28, 26?
I'm 38.
Well, you're young, that's what I mean. And so you gals in your 20s and 30s and what have you, you can see a long life in front of you, a long life of health and wellness and helping others. And for me, I'm pouring it back on in terms of making video and things like this to help people. I have like 3 or 4 YouTube channels now, and as I go in the next, if the good Lord gives me like 5 more years, I will be pouring on the videos to help people with their own health, wellness, and spiritual life and things like this. That is the whole goal of my life, is to, well, Kim will tell you that. I'm definitely not in it for the money, or I'd be upstairs in the clinic making more than twice what I make, literally. But I don't do so well in the clinics because I have so many wild natural things that I do. I kind of just take off in all directions. But nonetheless, I could easily fit into any clinic and flow right in there, and make huge money as a therapist. I'm not into that. I'm into serving mankind. This is truly why I believe I'm here on this earth now, is to serve others. And it's my joy to continue on and serve and give my best. And so people know, like, oh, I can see it in your eyes, Shelly, and I know Kim very well, that we really want to give to people and serve them. That's wonderful, because I'll give you a wide precept. If you treat your work as service, you will be happier in your life. Yeah. In other words, you go like this, well, I just got done with work. I got done with work. What that means is that your work was stress and it wasn't fun, and you need something to get rid of all that stress. Well, in reality, sometimes when you work for others, you get in a stressful circumstance with too much job description without the salary to follow it, or even if you have a huge salary, it's just too much to do. Here's what I tell you. Between my wife and myself, we have 5 sons. Every one of them is a professional doing a good job. I told every one of them this: take less salary to work for someone who's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you're getting beat down in your job all the time, every day of your life, then move to another career and work under. I just had a really pretty rugged trademark dispute with somebody that I'm working on some projects the other week, and in the end, when I found out, this was a really good man. He just was tough-minded about this certain incident. And I had to get back and explain, you really are a good human being. You're tough. You've been around a long time. You have a solid company and all that stuff. And so we all have to give life our best in order to have the best come back to us. And so it's a pleasure. So I've saved you this, is he was good to his employees. If everyone left employers behind who would treat their employees poorly, then they wouldn't have any employees, and they start treating them better. So the idea is, I always am willing to go out, and I make much less money doing something I love to do and calling it a service and working for somebody. Our boss and the Prince in the East is an angel. He's a good guy, And like tonight, he's giving a party for how many of us, Kim? 100 of us, 90 people, and all their spouses. Mm-hmm. So there'll be like 150 people there, right? All eating filet mignon, prime rib, things like that, or beautiful halibut dinner, right, that you cook yourself. It's one of these cook-yourself restaurants, or they'll cook it for you, But Ted's paying for all that, no problem whatsoever, and does it every single year, and does other things for us, too. This is the kind of employer you want to work with. He gives us a lot of levity. He goes, well, you can pretty much charge the way you want to charge. Yeah. I have a certain fee system I use, and other people use different fees and charging systems. That's excellent. He's leaving this flexibility for us. He has all kinds of different skill sets that come in with his trainers. He's just done a remarkable job. He's wonderful to work with and for. I hope everyone in their life can do the same thing. Find an employer who treats you well, and then live your life in balance. Yeah. So you're not doing too much. And then treat your work as service. Think of yourself as serving when you work, not working. Think of yourself as serving, an upwardly mobile thing that you're helping others and serving. And at the end of your day, you'll have a lot more energy in doing so. Does that sound right?
Absolutely. Shelly and I actually were just talking about this yesterday a little bit through a chat, because for me, I find what I do is a passion. I love what I do. I love helping other people. And to me, it's never really been about the money either. Of course, it's nice to have money, and we all need money to survive, but I really do what I do because I love it. I also have a different degree where I could be making probably a lot more money if I would have stuck with that, but that's just not my passion, and I wouldn't be happy there. So I do what I do because I love it, and I feel like sometimes you got to give a little in order to get. So if I'm not making, it doesn't mean that I'm not getting, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I have two wonderful women of mine that I'd like to say about. One quit a career in chemical engineering to teach yoga because she found that she wasn't a left-brainer after all. She was a right-brain creative spirit and loved to teach yoga. And the other one quit a job as a lawyer to teach Pilates. Yeah. And these are both in Madison. They're both in Madison. So it shows you what people can do to go after their passions, and that it's worth, in the world, every single one of us has a mission and a purpose that we can fulfill. Because think of this, I'm getting way wide spectrum now, but the who we are right in this body, and that includes every single person that's watching right now or who will ever watch this. In this life, you will only be who you are in your own body, with your mind, emotion, and soul set, all put together. You'll only be this one time ever. Ever. And there's only one of you, too, ever in the universe. Just this one. And that means a lot. It means that we all have a purpose, that we all can fulfill a purpose, that we all have a meaning, and we need to have a meaning. We need to have a meaning in life. And so fitness, health, and wellness does give us purpose and meaning in life. It creates value for us, and it's certainly worth doing. And we don't have to do it to extremes. We just have to do it to a point where we feel good about ourselves and we're healthy enough to live a long life, and we move forward clearly in our lives with clear minds and a healthy body, so we can reach these goals like I want to be these goals. I tell people, write your goals. Well, I want to be around to play with my grandkids. I want to watch my grandkids graduate from high school. I don't want to die of a heart attack like my mom or my aunt did at 60 years old, or on and on. People have these mission statements they need to follow in order to achieve in life and achieve that goodness and that service to others. So fitness and health helps and all that.
I always ask people, what's your why? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? Having your goal is good, but what is your why?
Yeah.
If that's not strong, nothing else is going to be strong.
And that was the mission statement, Shelley. Yeah, that's it. And you help them right on the top. The first thing it says, I make them form a mission statement for themselves.
Right.
Form it up. Write the statement. And very appropriately, a lot of people, I have them, women, mostly, and men, I have them bring me in 3 pictures of what they think the ideal body is. And then I put that up against their frame and structure and say, well, this gal has a much more petite frame or structure than you. And that one, it's this one. This one right here is what you actually can become. You think that's the ideal body? They have the same frame you do. You can become that. It might take you a year. It might take you 3 years. And they say, well, that doesn't seem possible. Well, it is possible. But when I had a colon illness once that almost killed me, and I ended up weighing 126 pounds.
Wow.
126 pounds at 5'8.5". 126 pounds. I was that at the end of the military, too, after I'd been in the hospital. But so at that, people look at me and go, oh, man, because my upper arm was the size of my wrist right now, pretty much. You know, how small I was, you know. And so I jumped in and joined. I started to get a little well and figure that all out, what I had to do to not have 3 feet cut off my colon. But I got it all figured out naturally. I got her going again. It's another story. But I started working out at the Toronto Gold's Gym in Toronto. I was up there at the time, right? And people looked at me like, oh, my God. Because, I mean, that's thin. I mean, that's way thin, more thin than Bruce Lee. That's way thin, you know. Well, now I'm back up, you know, I weighed up to 163 of muscle. I'm sitting over 150 now, and I'm a little guy. But Kim will tell you, I'm real proportion because I have some sizable legs and stuff, and I'm all there. I'm just a bantamweight guy, you know. But I'm all there now, gaining 25 pounds of muscle back and doing what it took. Yeah, but that took me 5 years to just get that all going again. Mm-hmm. After I had that illness, it took 5 more years to get that all. And I had already been a really fine athlete and super shape before then. And then I got attacked by that one in the 80s and had to come back out of it. So people can, you know, they may not be able to see to the far end of it, but they sure can see losing 5 pounds and then 10 pounds and then 15. And pretty soon they've lost 70 or 80. And that same guy that lost the 80 pounds, the bowling ball guy, little red-haired guy, he comes to the gym now going, everybody, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Just a totally different guy. Comes with me, how you doing, Jeff? Shake hands every time. And that was not the guy I met the first guy. His head was down. He was, you know, he had his self-esteem still about being a paramedic, but about being, you know, fitting in the world or how he fit in or how his fitness and how other people viewed him and stuff. How, I call that anonymity in a crowd. When my knees were so bent when I walked, they'd slide out and almost break off. It looked like my leg was going to break off. It was so bent, like bow-legged like. People would stare at me all the time before I got my first knee surgery, and they'd grimace, and they'd stare at me as I walked past them. I had no anonymity. People would see me all the time. They'd see me take one step, and my knee would slide way out. And from the back, I honestly look at this. It's so bow-legged. It looked like it was going to break off. That's how it looked. My cousin would follow me and go, it's going to break off. It's going to break off. In other words, I had no anonymity in the crowd. And when I got the knee surgery again and I could walk clearly and straightly, my walking gait was correct, and I had no deformity at all like that, then no one even looked at me. In a crowd, I'm just another person, right? Well, if you're 100 pounds overweight, you do not have anonymity in the crowd. See what I mean? And that's really, it's hard. And then when you make that transformation, they should, the heck with professional bodybuilders, they should put those people up in front of everybody.
Yeah.
The people that lose 100 pounds, and they do. It's on in People magazine, women who have lost half their weight every year, and how do they lose half their weight? All they do, human did, if you look, is they approached their nutrition correctly, and they took brisk walks, and they did a modicum of exercise. They didn't go crazy, and they gave it a couple years, and they did it right for a couple years. They lost 100 pounds, and so it's very, very neat. So I'm hoping that we can go out there and serve people well, and that and that other people. It's kind of a chain of links of fitness and health. Under John Kennedy, in 1964, we had the President's Fitness Plan. And everyone was out in the playground, running around, playing, jumping, doing push-ups and burpees and what have you, to do the President's Fitness Plan. You know, and then, you know, fads come and they go. Well, now they've gone pretty much. And now they're back to an hour a day for kids and all this stuff. And now they're back to trying to keep kids healthy and all that. Well, good, because that's what really makes a country good. The happiest countries in the world right now, some of them are the Scandinavian countries. Well, I happen to know that by survey, they surveyed Americans and Scandinavians. This is quite a while ago, 10 years ago, but I don't know how well things have changed. But we were going to sell a bunch of fitness products, and I was working for a big company. And so they did a study, and they found out that they asked them the 2 most important leisure activities to you. And for Scandinavians, the 2 most important leisure activities were outdoor activities and fitness activities. The 2 most important activities for Americans were shopping and eating. Shopping and eating. Go to Easttown. Check it out. So anyway, yeah. So we sold the fitness products in Scandinavia and sold 20,000 units in 3 months.
Wow.
I don't know how well we did in America. All I know is it sure worked in Scandinavia. Because look at what I'm getting to is look at them as a nation. Look at like Norway is one of the happiest countries in the world. Those people really enjoy their outdoor activities. They lead a nice, balanced life. Go to Europe and check it all out. What am I saying? I've never been there. But I have friends that have been there, lived there, everything. And the people are all good to each other. They don't try too hard to make scads of money. They make enough money so they can do their health and wellness and fitness activities and have fun in life and have fun with their friends, have social time. They seem to do everything in pretty much in balance. And as America, we're just bombastic people. We have the least vacation time of any country on the planet.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're only second to Japan for how hard we work. But on the other hand, Japan has a word, and this word means death by overwork. Truly, death by overwork. We have no word for that, but that's how hard they work. Well, is that sensible? Is that balanced? Not in any way. Life balance occupational therapy is like this. Work, play, rest, sleep, eat. Do them all well. So you should be working and working in balance. Proper amount of work. That doesn't include 60 hours a week. Play. We should play. A lot of people don't play. And when they do play, there's a massive amount of drinking going on. But play, have fun, do things that are valued, do creative things, think up things to do, show up for things, do something new. Rest. Most people don't rest enough. There's too much energy drinks and coffee going around, and people just go, 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 go until they get a stroke or a heart attack. Honest rest. We just lay back and rest. Sleep. People actually don't sleep too well either because we don't understand. First of all, for ladies, you only need 1,000 milligrams of calcium before bed, and men at least 500. Every night before bed, you'll be shocked at how your restless leg thing just goes away because the calcium channels are relaxed and it all just stops. Totally relaxed. That's another show. But calcium is crucial to help you sleep well. People need to sleep well. You have to learn to let go of the stressors in your life at this part and say, I've done all I can do for this day. All I can do for my children, my spouse, my work, all I can do for my creativity. I've done all I can do. It's time to let my body and my being rest. I'm going to rest and sleep now. Work, play, rest, sleep, and eat. Of course, people just cram food in their mouth. Fat. You know that I went up to at some years back up in Western Canada, and where we were, we couldn't find even in huge cities. We couldn't find any McDonald's. We couldn't find fast foods. They don't want fast foods. It was in British Columbia. They don't want fast food. They want to sit down with their friends and eat. So I mean, it's a whole different way of being and thinking. They love to eat socially. They sit down with people and they eat, and they go back to work, and they live a smooth life. And they have a lot less problems than Americans do. Europeans do. They have a lot less emotional problems, a lot less suicide, divorce, psychotherapy, drug addiction. They have a lot less of that in Europe. We could learn a lot of lessons from older, wiser countries. We're a young upstart country that does everything too fast, too much, and too much, and we have to balance it out. And that's just a philosophy that should thread through every person, on every strata that every person could. We could take a message from these people that just do it more smoothly. Work, play, rest, sleep, eat. So we need to have just a nicer approach to life to have a nicer life. Well, my friends, I've had a marvelous time here today. I couldn't ask for more. I don't mean to. People know that I can talk. I like, but a lot of my talking, I hope, is creating some service to others.
Yeah.
My joy
I
in life.
absolutely loved everything that you were talking about.
Well, thanks so much.
Yep,
I
Jeff
love.
has a lot of information, and he's definitely nice to be able to talk to and kind of pick your brain, and definitely would love to have you on again and
Yes.
some supplementation, especially just because, you know, there are so many different supplements out there, and you are full of information that people will find useful. So
Certainly, there's a lot of clarity that needs to be brought toward athletic supplementation and its value and lack of value. There's things that for every age group, there's things you should be taking and things you should not be taking. So I would love to go over all that with people at some point to bring a lot of clarity to that. And it's just been a joy being with you two today because, well, let's put it this way. I told you I'm very big, as a purveyor or uplifter of women. And so here you are doing a great job out here and serving others just like you should be doing. And I know you continue to do it. And then right away you run back and serve your kids, which so appreciate all you're doing and appreciate so much that you allowed me to be here today. I'd love to meet with you again.
yeah, and I'll see you tonight for dinner.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right.
All right, ladies. Well, I'll be signing off now, and I want to thank you so much for your generosity today. And so nice meeting you, Shelly.
You too. I'm so glad we talked.
Yeah, and before you log off, Jeff, why don't you tell people where they can find you and follow you on some of your websites or YouTube station?
Certainly. If you want to look at who I am or how I actually look, you can look at me on LinkedIn, Jeff Kundert, Kundert. And there's two Jeffs. The other guy, believe it or not, is a physical therapist up in the Northwest. That's kind of cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And believe it or not, there's another Jeff Kundert who's a veterinarian 30 miles from here too. But my LinkedIn page is the guy standing in the boat. And the guy standing up in the boat with his little shorts on. Then you'll know that's me. And that shows a picture that might define what kind of fitness levels you can reach in far into middle age. My LinkedIn page does describe who I am exactly and how I work as a wellness educator. And I do work with large corporations and kind of high-level individuals, as well as working in a beautiful health club. I have websites that use cable-based equipment, rubber cable-based equipment, to teach a huge amount to the lay people, everyone in the world, and that site is called fitnesslifeline.com. And that just helps everyone to get more fit using these cables. I would suggest you go and dig into each one of them and go to the video, and you'll see how I can mimic any exercise with $10 million of the equipment with $50 worth of cables. And that's really true, though. But the cables also, so you know, aren't little stretchy cables. So for you guys out there that like to work, our optimum setup goes from 1 pound to 70 pounds. You make an addition, you go to 130 pounds resistance, an addition 210 pounds. In addition, we have a maximum of 300 pounds resistance on these cables. So these aren't little sissy cables at all. These are serious cables. You've never seen 3 cables hanging off one handle, a roller handle, triple grip, all the stuff, foot attachment, stuff that mimics TRX. Every possible thing is on these sites. So fitnesslifeline.com uses these to educate and help and give equipment to just folks all over the world. Now, the other site that uses the exact same equipment for a very different purpose is called fightertrainer.com. For all you guys who have true interest in MMA or fighting, pugilistic skills, boxing, I was a national champion in forms and karate in the 70s, and I was a nationally rated fighter in the 70s. Now things have changed a lot with floor fighting and MMA. I do cross training with MMA athletes toward this, and that same site for that is called fightertrainer.com. There you will see the same equipment used for real aggressive athletes, fighters, and how they use this same equipment to further their skills. And some of this equipment is radical, excellent equipment that some of the greatest martial arts and fighters in the country don't even know about. And it's just wonderful equipment, though, and we have a good time with these sites and bringing them forward to people. That's the basics of what I'm doing now in the fitness world. And I often write. You might see me. I've written for a couple of magazines in the past as well, and been featured in these magazines, especially during the Body for Lifetimes where I did win a couple of their contests, and they had me sent on speaking tours, and I wrote for their magazines and stuff. But to this day, you know how 5 Minutes of Fame goes? Like in 2000, 2003, oh man, I was in lots of magazines and all this stuff, and things were happening. They were flying me all around the world and doing articles on me. Well, that's a long time ago. Things change. And you know what? Your life is just a giant flow. Your life just flows forward all the time. So with that, what do? Climb on and flow with it, So
keep moving on.
Yeah, my friend. So that's all I have for you today. And I appreciate so much this opportunity and can't wait to come back and visit you all again.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, bye-bye.